That's on.
Cool. So I'm gonna let you lead and read it, or and you talk about what questions, and we can go back and forth on them and put our. It's my grapes.
Stay out of his grapes. She likes grapes. You got to watch out; they'll disappear.
Don't eat my grapes.
Well, here we are. The Iron Rack with Kyle. Wore my Rebel Lance hat today, and my model shirt.
I like it. I wore an Iron Rack cap today.
There you go.
So I got to get a haircut today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I really do, man. It's long.
Yeah, you're looking kind of haggard.
Mm-hmm. I had one of our members who I also consider a friend. He was like, he asked me this like a couple of days ago, "You okay, man?" I was like, "Yeah, why?" He's like, "Man, you look really tired." And I was like, "Oh, well, thanks for pointing that out." He's like, "Maybe you just need a haircut. Sometimes a haircut like
freshen things up."
Yeah, I was like, "Pablo, I think you're right, buddy. I do need a haircut, man."
That's funny.
So I got one scheduled for today at 5:30 for Trip and I, and then I'm gonna have him straight blade my freaking trim me up too, so I don't have to worry about doing that today.
Well, there you go.
So
Good
it'll
deal.
be good. Yeah.
Well, we do this every couple of weeks, every 3 weeks.
Yes, sir.
Every 4 weeks, whatever. Whenever we can squeeze it in between your busy schedule and my schedule. And like I was telling you the other day, I watched one of my favorite podcast people, Seth Ferosi. He's a retired bodybuilder, but he still stays pretty jacked and pretty massive most of the time. And he had a little 30-minute rant, if you will, about science versus bro science.
I don't know if he called it
not really a rant.
He made it very clear at the first of the podcast. This is going to be fun.
It was fun. We're
going to talk about both, even though that was like the majority of what I watched was the very first.
Right. Well, he breaks it down pretty well, and he's pretty open-minded about it. But I thought it would be fun for you and I to talk about it and how it all works. I'm kind of old school in my training.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a, 5 sets of 10 reps, but then every once in a while I might throw in 15 or 20.
Yeah.
And my science is, depending what I'm doing, like on the sled, I'm adding another 45, or I'm not going to add anything. Like,
Yep.
And
I just want to say I think that's good, but I know we'll get more into it. So
well, and I listen when you're training people, and you got people, and I know you're way more science based.
Yeah.
With education and training and everything. My ultimate 2 cents on it are: there's no doubt in my mind that the pure scientific approach works extremely well for most people. My personal take on where it doesn't work so well is not everybody is going to push themselves to the brink of seeing stars, tearing a muscle, or getting right to that line.
So,
and if you don't have that experience and aren't able to do that, the science is extremely good.
So, that's what I was going to say. I agree that the average person that truly doesn't know what that feeling feels like, where you like truly pushed yourself. Yes, the science approach, especially with my clients, allows me to get them to that, because most people come in, man, and it's we've talked about this in the past, but 10 to 12 reps, 8 to 12 reps, 3 sets, whatever that is. Okay. And that's just what they've done their whole life, whether they were fatigued or tired or not. After that set, oh, I hit my 12. Cool. I'm done. Oh, I hit my 12. Cool. I'm done. Oh, I hit my 12. Cool. I'm done. Let's move on. So the science approach for me, when I'm doing the math, because I'm just looking at total volume. So like, okay,
work
cool.
Done.
So on set 1, you did this much work. All right, now I'm going to do a little bit of math here, and we're going to divide that by a heavier weight. And okay, cool. So based on what you did on set 1 with those 20 reps, we should now be able to hit this weight for 12 reps.
Right.
And so then they don't have an option. It's like, oh, crap.
Here, the math says this should work.
But for those people that it kind of gives a gradual, when you're manipulating the volume week by week with the client, it gives them the gradual, upscale where eventually it gets to the point where they have no option, but they've now hit that point where it's like,
Right.
oh goodness.
They've hit the
Anyway,
wall
yeah,
or some sort of.
yeah.
Well, and there's a lot of tables out there for like progression, especially if when you're trying to get stronger. That you can follow the table, and it works pretty well for most folks.
Yeah.
But like, and I was talking with Erica a little bit about that. I said, but here's the thing. And the goal is to progress in one way or another.
Yeah.
Typically, whether it's aesthetically, strength wise, endurance wise, whatever. If you're training in the gym, it's one of those things, if not a combination of them. You can only as an individual and a person, there's going to be a wall. Like, otherwise, people have been bench pressing 5,000 pounds.
Yeah.
There's the progression through maximum possibility.
And
then everybody hits
human
a wall.
potential.
Yes, there you go.
Human potential.
Then you hit a wall.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean you have to stop growing. It just means you get so like when I look at like weights or load lifted, I see that as strength. Okay.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Not muscle growth. Two different things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yes, with more muscle comes more strength. But the human body is only capable of so much. At least like where we are at as far as being evolved and all that good stuff. Okay. I don't think we've truly have reached the maximum potential of what we actually can and cannot do. Or can do.
I agree.
So, let's say that someone maxes out and they get to where they hit that 500-pound bench press. Now I'm done. I can't get any higher. It doesn't mean that like they still can't like condition, tone, and grow and make that muscle bigger. You just got to start training a little bit different. And so science science can be very handy in that aspect. Again, talking about total volume. So like, okay, well, my one max bench is 500 pounds. Okay, cool. Well, now what can I do? If I take that 500 pounds and I want to still like get the whole volume on the next set, how much weight do I need to do 10 reps?
Right.
You know what I mean? Or how many reps do I need to do to hit that? So you can like play around, manipulate numbers, and still keep your body getting stronger, better, and growing. And I think that's a benefit of using science along with what you're saying, gym bro science, so to say.
Well, and like I've trained long enough, and I learned through doing early on, because when I was young in the country with a bunch of guys, we all wanted to be stronger than the other guy.
Yeah.
Natural young male, testosterone driven. I'm going to bench press more than him and him. Oh, he got me this week, so next week I'm going to do more.
Yeah.
And we didn't, at that point it was one rep, whatever the most you could do. Was what we were shooting for, and we weren't doing a lot of things right at all.
Yeah.
Young dumb kids at that point in life, but we were young enough that our bodies could take it. But through doing stuff like that, I just train instinctively based on how it feels.
Yeah.
I when I'm doing 100%. My 10 reps of leg extensions yesterday. Yeah. Erica walks over, she finished her set, and I'm still going. She's like, how many reps you do? I said, well, I did 22 on that last set. She's like, did you know you were going to do? No. I said, but I felt like I had more in the tank.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to change the plate. I just decided I'm going to bang out the reps so that I can feel that.
Yeah.
So, but that was just all up here.
So
I wasn't doing any quick math. I was just like, I'm just going to do a bunch of reps.
Dude, I agree. So I think that you and I can agree that some days are better in the gym than others.
Some days you feel better.
Yeah.
Some days you sleep better.
You're going to have an off day.
Yeah.
So I use the science in my cases for both good and bad days. So, I mean, like if I come and I track and record all my lifts so that way I know what my volume was from the week before. Because in my head, it's a game. I'm not going below what I did last week. I'm going up one way or another.
That's
okay.
Or Erica, whenever she does more on something, I'm like, well, you can't go back now.
Yeah, you can't. You can't. That's a rule, dude. You can't take steps back. You got to keep going forward.
I mean, 5 years down the road, as you get older, you might go back a little bit, but
so
for the next 6 months, no, you can't go back.
So let's say that, like, okay, so I come in and just for simple math, 100-pound dumbbells. The previous week, I hit 15 reps with them. The next week I come in, I got that. I'm like, okay, cool. Set one. This is what I did. But I'm having an off day. I'm tired. Been working my ass off all week, whatever it is, and I pick the dumbbells up, and for that set, I'm only able to get, let's just say, 11.
Right.
I'm like, fuck. Excuse my language. But I'm looking at the numbers. Now I know I'm already down from last week.
So then do you do your math?
I will do the math to
And
manipulate my volume, yes,
to get the
and drop
volume
the 80s and increase my reps. So that way my overall volume by the end of that exercise is still higher than what it was the
You've
week
lifted
before.
the same amount of weight or more than you did the week before
Yes.
at the end of the session.
Yes.
Now,
correct.
and I think that's way more, that's effective, and I think it's more effective from the bodybuilding hypertrophy side of it than the strength side. The strength side, you're doing the work, but if you're doing the strength to lift a maximum weight, you almost you get your volume in. I think it's important, but you almost have to chalk that workout. Okay, don't think about this one. When I come back to do this workout the next time, whether it's 3 days or 4 days, whatever, the next time you do it, you go back to the good one with the idea that, hey, I got to get 15.
No.
On that first set.
No. It depends on what I feel. So, or
well,
again,
yeah, true. The goal is going to be to beat the one that was good.
From whatever it is from the week before, however I got to do it, it's to beat that new week.
Okay.
So that new week, it's just to beat the week before. Because even though the previous week I was off, I still beat the week before that. You know when I was having the good day on the heavier lift. But if I come in, I sure don't say, like, on that next, now let's progress it. Let's say now I'm on week 3. I come in, I'm feeling good. I'm still going back to the hundreds.
Yes, maybe, that's what I was saying.
Yes, or even the 110s on my first set.
You had your good week with the hundreds. Then we had that off week where you're like, oh crap, I got the 11 reps.
Yeah.
Then when you come in for the next week, you don't go to this week. You go back here with the goal of being as good
I
or
just
better
say
than
I'm going to go back to the hundreds.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't
exactly.
because I still did the hundreds the week before.
Exactly.
But now it's okay. Shit, I only got 10 or 11 last week, so this week I better get 13 or 14 and get up on that. And if I feel good, I'm going to keep going. If I get 18, then I'm like, woo, okay, cool.
Now you got a new standard.
Yes. And then instead of doing the math downwards, I'll take that 100 by 18 and then divide it by 110 and see how many reps theoretically I should be able to get with the 110s if I'm feeling good. And then I'll pick up the 110s and see if I can rep out what the math shows that I should be able to do.
Yeah, if the math says 9,
then
when you pick them up, you're shooting for 9.
Yes.
And if you get 10, woohoo.
Yeah.
And if you get 7, okay, that's fine, but I got some work to do.
So I'm like you. I play if I come in, I have a great day, and I want to look. I'm still looking at total volume, but yeah, shit, dude, I'll go heavy because I'm like, man, I'm having a really good day. I'm gonna take advantage of this good rest, this energy I got, whatever. But then again, next week when that training day comes around, then it may not be the same level of, or the intensity level stays the same, but I may not be able to.
I don't do the math like you do most of the time. But say I come in and I'm like, man, everything feels heavy today, and usually my first exercise is like a warm up of some sort.
Yeah.
Like when I do chest day, I do it on the machine. I do 5 sets over there just to get things. I don't even push the issue.
Yeah.
Like I do 100 up to 160 pounds, my 5 sets of 10 or 12 reps, just to get the blood flowing. It's really not even part of my workout.
Yeah.
And we do chest and back together. But then when I get to the incline dumbbells, I know what I did the week before. But say if it's one of those days where I'm like, man, everything's feeling heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I won't even attempt, like if it was the hundreds.
Yeah, you'll just automatically go.
I go 60, 70,
or whatever.
80. Yeah. And get my reps and be like, I'm kind of going through the motions. but I'm not going home.
Yeah, and you're still. I bet if you did the math, you'd still be really close to whatever it was you did the week
Well,
before.
and
dude.
then sometimes too, you get to that second or third set,
and you feel better.
and you feel better, and you're like, screw it, I'm going to do the
Yeah.
hundreds.
Yeah, dude, I was on Thursday's leg day. I felt fantastic, and I did. But by the time I finished up squats, because that's what I started with, everything else was. So like I used all of my good energy that I had to lift heavier and get more reps on my squats. That by the time I was done with that, I was gassed on everything else.
You put a little
dude.
too much into that.
I did. And so
Considering
I was
your
manipulating the numbers on everything else for the rest of that day.
But that's probably not all bad.
No, it wasn't. It was good. Like it was a good
at
lift
least
day.
you
Felt accomplished. It was great.
And
Felt
you
really
put
good.
the work in on the compound movement, so that, in my mind, is where to do it.
Yeah.
Typically,
Agreed.
If you can. Yeah. But that's, I tore my back and screwed up my delt in that one workout.
Yeah.
It's been 10 weeks now, probably. I can't remember exactly, but I told Erica this week is the first week that I don't feel anything on chest movements.
Oh, that's nice,
or
man.
I've shrugged.
Yeah.
I've been shrugging super heavy, but like I was only able to do one plate on the barbell doing barbell shrugs without that hurting. I was finally able to do 2 plates with no pain.
Cool.
I didn't push it to 3.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be a little smarter. And I'm not going to push it to 3 for at least a couple weeks.
Yeah.
But I was like, it feels good. Finally.
Cool.
Like probably shouldn't be saying this out loud, but I've done 2 upper body workouts where everything feels whatever normal is.
Yeah. That's cool. Good, man.
Yeah. I'm pretty stoked about that.
So what else was Feroci's take on?
Well, his thing is
pro versus science.
His thing is we all need to get along more or less. He didn't say it quite like that, but part of it's the social media stuff. Us doing this and us talking about it.
Yeah.
But he's like, the bro science guys are saying screw you to the science guys, and then and the science guys, and then he's like, in the end, just like we've chatted about, we're pretty. We're really on the same page.
Yeah.
The way we think about most things. Mm-hmm. He's like, basically, we're all doing the same thing. We just have different ways of talking about it.
And there's nothing wrong with that. So like in the several years that I have been doing this for myself, my methods and means change.
Right.
I like the total like tracking my volume and my clients' volume. Honestly, that's something that like in the last 6 months, just like, I mean, I've, read about it. I know what my volume is, but say, oh shit, well, here's a way that I can manipulate this and keep things going up. Like that just hit in my head, like, probably like 6 months ago. Other than that, I was like, okay, cool, man. I want to hit 6 to 15 reps. And that's what I would tell my clients. And I'd say, hey, let's pick a challenging weight, which we still do even with the volume manipulation. It's a challenging weight. This is the rep range we're trying to go in. If we got more, do what you got. And then we're going to go up on the weight, do what you got. So like the first week that of a new program with the client is always playing around with the numbers. Okay. So
sure.
So the first week on everything is only 3 sets. And that's the rule. I'm like, okay, on set 1, pick a challenging weight that's going to, that you're going to struggle to stay within 12 to 15 reps. But if you get to 15 and you got more, keep going. Document what you did and what your weights were. On set 2, take it up 5 or 10 pounds. Repeat the process. If you got more than 15, keep going. Document. Set 3, go up again. 10, 15 pounds, same process, and then document what you got. And so then when I'm going through client notes, that gives me all of the data initially from week 1 to do the volume and then divide it by the rep range we're trying to stay in and say, okay, hypothetically, the math shows this is the weight that we need to be in to keep you in that 12 to 15 rep range for 4 sets.
I want to touch on a little something here. If you're a client and you watch us, or if you're not, but you have a trainer that uses this methodology.
Yeah.
The other thing I will tell you, if you're here to really get results, or at any gym to get results, don't sandbag.
No. Dude, you're not doing yourself any good.
No. If it was easy, everybody'd do it and everybody'd look absolutely freaking amazing. It's not easy. It's hard work. And if you aren't working hard, you're probably not going to get the results that you might want, but you got to desire those results and you have to work for them.
So I'm pretty
Hence my motto: work your ass off.
So I'm pretty sure that I made Meg mad yesterday. It wasn't discussed after the gym, but she was doing lying leg curls, and I designed her program. She knows what she's supposed to do as far as the manipulation, the weights, the reps.
Sure.
But I'm a perfectionist, so in my head, I don't think that anybody does it the way that I want them to do it. Just being real, my wife included. So she finished
Probably
up.
her more so.
I probably, because I know what she's got, dude. She's a tough woman, and I know that she can, do really well in her division. And for several years, like I told her all the time, you're not pushing yourself hard enough. You're stronger. Push harder.
Right.
And until I had the availability to like really truly start like training her as a client, like one-on-one, and again pushing her past what she thought was her last rep or was uncomfortable. She was like, I am stronger. You're right. And so like she's really taken off over the last couple of years. So anyway, she finishes up set 2, and I'm with the client that I'm writing the same area.
I've heard this.
Did you ever hear this?
I was like, ooh, Meg.
And I was like, how many did you do? This. It's like, raise the weight. And so I just walked over and raised the weight. This is your new reps now. Do it.
She did not like that in that moment, did she?
She didn't say anything. I got a look, but she did it. I said, cool. What'd you get? Blah, blah, blah. Bam. There's your new weight. Do it. So she was just, and again, she's tired. She's in contest prep.
Yep.
She was kind of probably more just, she was pushing herself, but also just saying, this is the weight I'm messing with, so I'm not going to worry about it. And so then after set 4, she got up like she was done, and she's in contest prep. So I was like, was that set 4 or 5? She went like that. I said, do another one. I don't know why you're getting up.
She didn't like that, did she?
She didn't say anything. She knew, I think she'll never admit that I was right, but I think in her head, she was probably like, son of a bitch is right. She did the 5th set. She didn't say anything. I'm sure she was mad, but it wasn't brought up again at all throughout the day, and she was happy when I got home. So
it was done and over with at that point. Yeah. And sometimes that's how it needs to be. No, that's, like Chris has kind of given me a couple of compliments in the last couple of weeks.
You do look good. I tell you that all the time,
well,
man.
I appreciate it. But, well, and I told Erica, I said, I am looking halfway decent.
Yeah.
Like I'm getting there. And I said, it's weird. I'm at that point in training and been doing it so long that my progression for me is how I look and how I feel. It's not so much about lifting more weight than I did last week.
Yeah.
Because I know what that gets me at this point. It gets me
sore. Yes.
and
so,
a sore joint.
If I may, real quick, and I don't mean to cut you off, bro, I honestly think that that's why you are starting to look more full, is because you're not coming in here lifting heavy. You're focused on getting the fucking reps in, and it's just my opinion.
No, you're spot.
Because since you tore your pec or your shoulder or whatever it was, and you had to lighten up and focus and less on the freak, even with your legs, with the knee surgery.
I'm not doing as much.
I think that that's starting to go even further for you than it's what you think. That's just my opinion. I'll shut up and let you finish your story. I'm sorry
that's
for cutting you off.
That's exactly what we've done. Like there's days I mix it up more now. We did like yesterday, and yesterday it was busy, a little busier than usual when we come in. So I was like, people are doing what we usually do first. I said, you know what? We'll do leg extensions and leg curls first.
Mm-hmm.
I like to do those last.
Yeah.
Those are usually my finishers. But I've seen plenty of pro bodybuilders that do that first.
Well, it's because then it just fatigues the shit out of your legs already. So then when you go to that compound movement, man, it's like, oh,
yep,
fuck. I've already used a lot of energy.
We did those first. Then we did our squats. And mostly 10 rep stuff. Like I said, I did 20 reps on my last leg extension because I'm like, I don't have enough weight on here for work. I was feeling good.
Yeah.
Then we go over to the sled. And we usually do 4 or 5 sets on the sled if we're doing it later in the workout like that, rather than a whole bunch. I looked at Erica, I said, we're going to do 3 sets today. She's like, "No, fine, but we're doing 20 reps,
Mm-hmm.
which we normally don't do."
Yeah.
So she put a couple plates on and she did hers, and I didn't go above 4 plates. But when I'm doing my 20, I'm not banging them out like,
No.
I'm like
You're going slow and
up and down, and
controlled.
it freaking hurts.
It does, dude.
But it's kind of like I've seen it over and over. Kai Green explains it really well. He's like, I am not a weightlifter.
Yes,
I'm
man.
a bodybuilder. I'm trying to make my
Grow it.
muscle look as big as possible. If
Yeah.
it takes 5 pounds to do that and it works,
Yeah.
that's all I got to lift, but I got to do it.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't say that, but
It's pretty close.
Yeah, but his content.
I posted.
He's like, I don't care how much I bench.
I don't
care
know
what
if
I
you
look
saw
like.
it, but I posted I reposted something on my Instagram story the other day. It was Chris Bumstead, 5-time Mr. Olympia now, doing reverse dumbbell flies. Thanks, Eric. Appreciate you spilling your shit all over my nasty carpet.
The sweat.
Doing reverse dumbbell flies with 5-pound dumbbells, going up to I think they did 22 reps in the clip that I hit. But you know, if you're really taking your time and on what the leg press, chest press, whatever, dude,
you're getting a pump on every rep.
You are, man, and.
And
again, there's days that I come in when I'm feeling really good, that I go heavy and my tempo is faster. I'm like, yeah, I feel good. Like a meathead day, a bro science day.
Yeah, some days you
just have that.
Yeah,
you know.
I agree.
That's so kind of on. Man, I think I got you way off topic. My fault, buddy.
No, you didn't.
But
no, not at all.
When it comes to the science method, I'd like to think that I incorporate both. Because some days I feel stronger than others, and I probably let form slack just a little bit, not much, so I can lift heavier and more and get my ego inflated and like, yeah, I feel good.
Yep.
And then, you know, some days I'm like, even if I feel good, I'm like, all right, let's slow it down a little bit. Shoulders a little sore today, so let's go nice and easy, slow and controlled, little squeeze and contract and all that good stuff. It goes day by day. And like a lot of strength, a research study that I showed, like a lot of people train based on, especially like strength coaches, percentage-based training. You know, They get an athlete's 1 rep max, and then they say, okay, cool. Well, we're gonna work out with 70% of your 1 rep max, which is freaking great. It's been around for years. There's nothing wrong with it. But read a research paper once that was like, dude, really, everybody's 1 rep max can vary every single day. Because like we're talking, you may have a good day one day, you may have a bad day. So
you're gonna get close, but are you gonna get
so you know, technically if you want to do a percentage-based training program, you'd have to come in and do a 1 rep max every workout to say, okay, cool, that's where I'm at today. So now, but obviously no one does that. And it's not needed, but I'm just,
and it's probably not a good idea because you're just begging. You're just begging to injure yourself.
Yeah. You'd be worn out by the time you even got to anything else, anyways.
Yeah.
But I guess the point is, I'd like to think that I use both. Yes, I'm science driven because it helps with my documentation, progression, and looking at the big scheme of things. It helps keep my clients organized. Most clients, and this is not disrespectful, are not in here to be bodybuilders. They're in here for lifestyle change and to look better and feel better physically and mentally. So science-based documentation, recording everything helps us push them to that point that they can get there. But conversation you and I were having yesterday when we were talking about what we were going to talk about today. Dude, everything is science-based. And even if it's like you said, 2 guys, and I did see the part where Seth was talking about seeing somebody in the gym doing something, and initially you're like, what that doesn't make any sense. And then they do a study on it and say, oh man, yeah, that crazy shit I saw you doing really was effective. So let's keep doing it. But I on the flip side of that, where I'm going, I might have got off for a sec, but when people, there's a lot of guys out there, like big time, well-known bodybuilders that that knock it, like the science-based stuff.
And they're
But-
using it, but they don't
well,
even realize it.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so
It's all intertwined.
when you're thinking about exercise physiology, kinesiology, how the body moves, how you can maximize that muscle growth, dude, it doesn't matter. That's science. That's science. Every machine that you use in a gym has been scientifically engineered to make sure your body mechanics
For
move
something.
with that piece of equipment. So we can all be goofy and whatever, but everybody's using the science in one way, shape, or
Whether
form
they understand
every
it
day.
or not.
Yeah.
And whether you're
So-
using it in the most efficient way or not.
Yeah.
Where I think that using it again in the efficient way or to get the most gains from it comes down to, that's where the bro side of it comes into pushing yourself.
Yes.
That I don't think a
You gotta
lot
push
of
yourself
people
mentally.
truly understand.
Yeah. I mean, going back to the squats either, when I'm done with squats, dude, my heart rate's probably up to 190 beats per minute.
Yep.
My heart monitor, my exertion, like high shows that I'm like at 98%. That's like almost off the charts. I'm seeing spots. I have a fucking headache because of the pressure that's built up from pushing those last 3 reps, man. You know that. So the meathead ego has to come out sometimes to
put in the work.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to get that growth, because if you don't push yourself past the point of uncomfort, you're not going to grow. You're going to stay the exact same as you always have been.
Yes. And for a lot of people, that's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. If your goal is to come into the gym to be healthy and just feel good, cool. But if your goal is to come into the gym and grow muscle or get stronger,
you got to work.
And yes, and if you've been in the gym consistently for a year or more and you still look the same, or you're weaker or at the same as what you were when you came in, then dude, I'm sorry, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
You either need to rethink what comfortable is to you or just say, I'm here to be healthy.
Right. And that's fine.
It is.
It's perfectly fine. That's what
I'm not making fun or clowning anybody. I promise.
Yes,
but
no,
yeah,
I
if your
agree.
goal is to see changes, but you're not seeing them, dude, you got to reevaluate something. You're not doing something right.
Exactly. I agree. All right, cool. I think we covered the gist of that. And that was just my one thing that I'm like, I thought you and I could have a very good conversation.
Dude, I thought it was a good conversation, man. We're like almost 40 minutes into it, but that was good.
I knew
dude.
we would.
Yeah. Good time. So that was great, man.
Yep.
Was there anything else like that he touched base just real fast? I mean, we're at a good wrapping up point, but was there anything else that like you don't think that we covered that? What was his overall? He said both is good. Incorporate both. What was Carosi's
and his thing,
and
I don't know if I'm tying in some other stuff that I've seen, but the big thing is like, it doesn't matter if you're a bro science guy or a science guy, right? If you lean, like you feel like you're more one way than the other, it's perfectly fine. But like, let's all get along.
Yeah.
Like they'll go at each other. Some of them,
dude.
Some of the science guys will go up to the bro science guys and vice versa.
Well, did you see it was several months ago, like long time. It was Charlie was still here, so that's how I know. Man, I hope that's water in there that you're spilling out all over the carpet.
It's 99% water.
But there was it went viral. 2 Canadian guys, both very. One guy's name is Big Mike. Big Mike he's all tatted up, dude. He's been around for a long time. Was an IFBB pro. Never went that far, but still very good and trains a lot of people. And then there's another guy, a smaller guy. I think he's 180 pounds, but really big for his size. I can't remember what his name is, but he's a science guy. And Big Mike made a post on Instagram. What we're talking about, the science guys and blah, blah, blah. So then the science guy made an Instagram post, which there was honestly nothing wrong with it. You can probably still go and find it. That put the commentary of Big Mike, like down in the corner, you know, when you see people do things like that, and put a few shots of him while he was working out, the science guy, while he was working out, and then made a comment. He said, I use science because I'm a natural bodybuilder. I don't take enhance or drug enhancement or performance enhancement drugs. I don't do this. So I find that the science works better for me. And I guarantee you that 5-time Mr. Olympia Chris Bumstead's coach is using science for him, as well as a lot of the other big bodybuilders that are out there, but they just don't know it. That was it. That was the post. He didn't say anything negative about Big Mike. He didn't say anything at all. All he did was put that thing in there because it was like Big Mike was taking a jab at the other dude.
Yeah.
And so then like 2 days later, because I guess they both train in the same gym in Canada. It's like one of the biggest like brand gyms out there. The science guy, his videographer's there. They're shooting some material in the gym. Big Mike walks in. Got something to say? And Big Mike's like 300 pounds.
Big,
like,
massive
yeah,
dude.
Big dude. Takes this little 180-pound dude and like, so stupid shit. The gym is not, and I see a lot of videos on Instagram lately with fights breaking out in gyms. Come on, dude.
It's crazy.
This is supposed to be a place to be better and hang out and like, it's just goofy. It's goofy, man. It's like a prison yard mentality.
And the ones that I've seen are at big gyms where that tend to cater to all clienteles. It's not like it's bodybuilding.
No, I agree. They look like LA Fitnesses or like nice,
like
big, big box gyms.
Because
dude,
I've trained at a bunch of them.
Yeah,
and the crazy when I trained at Metroflexes here, it's all big dudes for the most part, and everybody's kind of doing their thing. But then after you go for a while, you always get but there's not a lot of talking there usually. It's amongst the groups that train together, but everybody's super cool.
Yeah.
Typically. Like, never had a problem, never saw a problem. You might see a guy like, come on, 3 more.
Yeah.
The big meatheads going at it. But, I don't know what's going on. I think a lot of it is, the problem is behind the texting and the keyboard. And it's like, if you don't do that, then you don't have a beef when you cross paths later on.
That's good.
To some degree. And that's Seth mentions that. He's like, you got some bro science guys saying some stuff about the science guy on Instagram or Facebook or Snapchat or, I don't know, wherever. And the other guy does the same thing, and it's like a big argument. It's like, dude, you're both in shape.
Big. You're both in shape.
You're both in shape.
How about instead of knocking each other, get together and collaborate and
train together?
Yes. Yeah. Say, okay, cool. Let's train my way one day, and then we'll train your way, and let's see who's the most tired, or
or how do I feel after training your way versus my way, and vice versa.
Yeah. Get something educational out of it instead of making beef or whatever. Dude.
Exactly. Because and that's we're all the same, but we're all different. One thing. That's my only knock of the science to some degree, is that I think it works very well across the spectrum.
Yeah.
If you are trying to get to that next level, whether it's be a CrossFitter, be a bodybuilder, something along those lines, and that's where you got to not sandbag and you got to push yourself. If you're pushing yourself to the max too, then it will work.
Yeah.
But a lot of the bro science guys, they don't read that shit. They come in here, they lift freaking heavy weights. They do 18 basic lifts.
But like you said, they're pushing themselves.
They don't
past
need.
The max.
They don't need the numbers. They just freaking go balls to the wall all the time.
Like you said, even if you're using science, you still have to push yourself to the max, because I could very easily come in and say, "Oh, I did 20 pounds for 15 reps last week. So let me multiply that and then divide it by 15 pounds and." Oh, and here we are. Now I just have to do 30 reps instead of the 20 that I did. I'm not going to get anywhere doing that stupid shit, dude.
Right.
So that's why I feel like I incorporate both. I incorporate pushing myself and then taking that data and using the science to help me be better.
I won't say names or anything, but like I watch you training people, and I can generally tell who is pushing themselves that you're training, and the ones that aren't.
Oh yeah,
as much.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, it becomes, to me, blatantly obvious.
Yeah.
After X amount of time, and I mean, you're providing a service. You're doing what you can
I
for
am
'em.
here to give the person what they want.
Exactly. So
Cool.
but I just sometimes I go, okay, to myself, because
Yeah.
my mentality is if I'm here to put in work.
Yeah.
I'm here to sweat. I'm here to feel it. But
I get sad if I'm not sore some way, shape, or form the next day. I'm like, damn.
I left something on the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if I come in and I like didn't sweat because I'm like, damn, did I hit it as hard as I could have today? And I tried, but that could have just been, again, one of those an off day. Typically, when I get up at 3 a.m. in the morning and get my workouts in before the day starts because I'm super busy, those typically tend to be the workouts that I feel like I left more on the table. But I mean, damn, 3 a.m. in the morning
That's
after
early.
5 hours of sleep and working 16 hours the day before,
And
you're going to leave a little on the table.
When Kyle talks about getting up at 3 in the morning to work out, that's because that's what he has to do to get it in. And then he's here for
the rest of the day.
12. And when he says the rest of the day has 24 hours in it. He's here at least 12 of it.
Yeah, I'm here from 3. I'll be here from like 3 a.m. until 8 p.m. at night.
A lot of nights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is that, like 18 hours?
Yeah.
Go home, eat, fall asleep, and
do it again,
the next day. But it's like, one more thing. Sorry, Meg and I were having that conversation today. I was talking about, somebody being busy or had making a comment that they're busy.
Uh-huh.
She just looked at me and was like, "Oh, really? They are? Oh, okay. Yeah, I have no sympathy.
No, and we've talked about what Meg
that
does.
Use that as an excuse. Yeah.
Well, and you know what? I don't either, because we've got teenagers and we're so busy, Dad. I'm like, oh, you worked 40 hours last week, huh? I mean, I'm a truck driver. A 60-hour week is normal.
Normal. Yeah.
50 hours in 4 days is normal. But then I still have time for the gym and to go out to dinner and to help out around the house.
Yeah.
Because when people say, oh, I work so much, and I'm like, you know what? There's 24 hours in a day, and there's 7 days in a week. Like, what's that? 148 hours or 144?
4 of those hours for everybody.
So if you're only working 40 hours, you still got over 100 hours to get your sleep, your grocery shopping, and have a good time. If you need 8 hours of sleep a night, that's 56 hours. So 56 and 40 is 96, right?
I don't know. Don't ask me.
Well, so we started with 44, so you still got 40 plus hours to do whatever the fuck you want. Excuse my language. So you can decide to scroll or watch Netflix, or an hour of gym in the day, 5 days a week is only 5 of that 40 hours that you haven't touched yet.
Yeah, take an hour away from social media or the Netflix or whatever, and just go take 30 minutes away. Start small, like you've said several times, dude.
Yeah, start it and work your way up. And if you do that, one of Chris's clients was talking with him yesterday about, it's kind of hard today. And Chris said, yeah, but what did she's been at it for, I can't remember, said a year or 2 years. She's like, yeah, but if I don't come now, I don't feel right.
Yeah. That's a good place to get to.
It's a really good place to get to.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a road trip vacation planned up, and it's like, which hotels have gyms and which ones look the best? When can we won't work out every day on vacation, but we'll get 3 workouts in. Like, it's not an option. We're planning a trip to Hawaii where I don't know if we'll go to the gym, but I'm like, worst case scenario, I'll do push-ups, crunches, and squats in the room. Like,
I'm sure you are going to be pretty active too.
Yes, it'll be nonstop.
So,
yeah. But like, it can easily become part of your lifestyle.
Yep.
And nobody's too busy.
If you're too busy, you're making excuses.
Yes, exactly. I think that's a good place to leave it at.
Cool.
Don't make excuses.
Good talk, Eric. Thanks, buddy.
You too.
Yeah.
Thanks for meeting up.
Yeah, bud.